Hi y'all, welcome back to Salty Tarot. We're going to just dive right in and see what comes through. I think we're going to start with the Future Higher Self deck. Put the other ones to the side for now. So Spirit, please tune me in to what the collective needs to know about the person on their mind. And what's going on with this connection? What the hell's going on? We have communicate, receive, and express the truth. If you ever notice breaks in the video while I'm shuffling, it's because sometimes the shuffling goes on forever. And I get impatient watching it when I'm editing, which I can only imagine. I just knew that one was going to come out today. Divine timing. Everything has a higher purpose. When I pulled this deck out, I was picturing that card. And I don't know, it comes out a lot. Every time I use this deck, that card comes out. And I just, at this point, I've made my peace with the like really dumb cartoony images on this deck. And so now when I think of divine timing, I literally picture this weird clock doing a little dance. Dedication. Stay dedicated to your goals, efforts that will reap success. Yeah, I think that's... Okay, now I'm going to get one more. Stress. Cleanse and detoxify from unnecessary commitments. Bottom of the deck, we have twin flame. That's interesting because I almost flipped over the bottom of the deck when we pulled that one. And then I really had the call to go one more. A spiritual connection between you and your twin flame. So if you resonate with the twin flame journey, that might be significant for you. And especially with divine timing coming out as well. Okay, we're going to get some cards from this deck, which is called the Gentle Reminders. So I've only used it as an advice deck in the past, but I wanted to use it today as a, we're going to move these guys up a little bit. Make some room. I wanted to use it today as to see what's going on, diagnostic. We have sometimes the no opens more doors than it closes. Sorry for the dog hairs. There's perpetual dog hairs. I swear I vacuumed yesterday. Sometimes a no opens more doors than it closes. Fixating on the past won't help you stay present and let it flow. I think I'll just stop there as those all came out together. Bottom of this deck, we've got you deserve to give yourself tenderness anytime you wish. Okay, so you may be in a situation where so first of all, if there's some stress going on within your life generally, it might be beneficial for this connection if you can cleanse and detoxify from, it says from unnecessary commitment. So if you've overcommitted to things, if there are things that you, that are pulling you in all directions, you might want to try simplifying and figuring out what's really essential. You know, what of those commitments, like if, are you essential to keeping all of those balls in the air, or are there some things that you can delegate or step back from, you know, that'll just hum along just fine without your involvement? Because if so, that might benefit the connection. And so if it sort of looks like I'm not seeing no contact here, except maybe with this no coming through here. But certainly if you have been on a twin flame journey, there is always an element of divine timing to that. So for those who are not aware, I think it's very much in pop culture now, but the pop culture definition, I would say, or impression of the twin flame journey might not be accurate to a more spiritual understanding of it. So you might want to do your own research on that. And so, but if you feel like there's somebody that you're sort of going through, a part of the twin flame journey is you know, it's that there's a connection that is very strong, but then there's also sort of it's like you're magnetized together and then you're magnetized apart almost, and you might be magnetized back together, but not necessarily. And a lot of the purpose of that twin flame journey, as I understand it, is to sort of, it's that period of separation where you're working on yourself individually. So it's sort of like you come together and there's something triggered about your own healing or your own goals in life, you know, your own process. And it's sort of like a kickstart of, you know, going into those individual journeys. And it's like you're gifting each other with the gift of focusing on yourself, would be my understanding of the twin flame journey. And so I've talked about this before, and I don't want to ramble at length, but I sort of hold with the idea that our higher selves can often be in communication or in sync, while our 3D selves might not be. And it's not necessarily the case that, you know, you might have that connection, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're meant to be together in the physical. So I know nobody wants to hear that, especially coming to a tarot reading. We all want to hear that it's going to work out, but I actually think it's important to stay grounded and rooted in the idea that there can be love between you in a spiritual sense, even if things are wonky on the 3D plane. And that's okay. That's beautiful in and of itself. So for what that's worth. So you deserve to give yourself tenderness anytime you wish. I feel like that's related to the stress. And let it flow and stay focused on the present rather than anything that has occurred in the past. So you just need to know that next step and the next step and the next step. And if you've received a no in any area of your life or in this situation, then just try and stay focused on the idea that that no might be benefiting you. And always focus on communication. So if there's something unsaid that needs to be said, do find your way to those words, as things can languish in a morass of misunderstandings, if not. Okay, we're going to get an angel number for your connection. Spirit, please tune me into the collective. What is the number for the connection in their heart today? We have 444 with protection, change, rebellion, guidance, justice, truth, character, love. Get ready for the good things you've been hoping for. You were born for a higher calling. Put your energy into going toward your ambitions, and the universe will align itself to provide you with the right people, circumstances, and resources to make things happen. That light always has a flicker a few minutes in, but I do find it interesting when it does. Let's see if we can make that visible for you. Okay, we're going to go into the tarot. Oh my goodness, I haven't asked anything, but just right off the bat, we've got King of Cups and Page of Wands popping out. Spirit, what does the collective need to know about the connection between them and their person at this time? So let's look at how's their person feeling about the connection at this time. We've got 10 of Cups, oh my. So they might be very enamored. We've got the Lovers, and then 7 of Wands in reverse. So your person might be feeling it. They might be feeling like you have the potential, or you are very much connected with each other. They might feel like there's a choice to be made about, I mean, this is definitely coming through as twin flame soulmate energy. 7 of Wands can be about being defensive or holding on to boundaries. So in reverse, it might be about, maybe there's a choice about whether to let one's guard down, and it looks like they're in the energy of wanting to let their guard down, or wanting you to let your guard down, wanting to like come closer and have more connection in this situation. Okay, so what is your energy in the connection at this time? What are you feeling about the connection? Got 8 of Pentacles, so you might feel like you've come to a place of fruition. You've put in the work already, and now you're getting to enjoy it. What is the energy of the collective accessing this reading about their connection with the person in their heart at this time? The Emperor, that came out almost might have been upside down. It was kind of sideways. So the Emperor, so there might be, you might even be, let's give it a sideways orientation. So you might, bottom of the deck we have the Chariot. You might be feeling like you are having to sort of dance with whether to control the situation, whether like maybe you feel like things are happening very quickly, and that might feel wonderful and amazing, but you might have this feeling of like, do I need to slow this down? Or so I would say with that flow card coming out earlier, if you're in those energies, then go with it. It's a beautiful thing. So looks like things are moving forward. I mean, this person is riding a snail rather than the usual Chariot energies, but the idea is that they're moving forward. And with the Eight of Pentacles, I'm getting the energy that things are progressing. The usual Chariot meaning is that things are flowing, and perhaps that you are listening to your intuition, but maybe slightly waffling about whether you should slow things down or try to control the situation a little bit more. I would say just go with it and flow into it is the message that's coming through. What are next steps for you in this connection? What are your next steps in this connection? These cards are getting they're acting a bit sticky. Six of Wands in reverse. Clarify the Six of Wands, please, Spirit. We have the Fool. We got one more card, perhaps. Three of Cups in reverse. Clarify the Three of Cups in reverse. Three of Wands. Bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Wands. Okay, so it's really interesting, kind of in the same way that those oracle cards earlier had both flow and divine timing. These cards they're a little bit ambiguous. They're sort of like two different messages. So with the Six of Wands in reverse, there's a message to, if the timing is not progressing as quickly as you'd like. So now I'm thinking back to that Chariot card with the snail. So maybe there's an element here where the timing has not been flowing as smoothly as you may want. It looks like in the background, there's like maybe in the past or in this connection, like as this might be a very new connection, or this might be referring to sort of, early days in an established relationship if you're in one. Perhaps things were progressed very quickly and you felt very connected, and there was just a lot of sort of like bursting with creative energy. So that could be sexual energy, that could be working together in creative pursuits, it could just be a lot of enthusiasm, fervor, excitement, and just being in it. And so it looks like that phase has occurred for you. And so at this point, you might be feeling like you're impatient for that to continue or to still be the case. And so there's sort of a message here of bringing patience to that. So if things are not progressing as quickly as you would like, be patient. But also dive in and, don't hold back, like jump right in. If there's, it's sort of like do your part to progress the connection forward and be bold, be innovative, bring your creative energy to the connection. Just hold tight to there being shifts ahead. And so in terms of what you can do to bring forth those shifts, essentially diving in. So there's a message for you to go in openly and with trust, and to take action, take initiative, to start conversations, to start maybe ideas for things to do together. There's also a very strong element here of spending one-on-one time together or planning together as a twosome for the future. So getting to know each other more deeply, making time for intimate one-on-one conversations. So perhaps getting away from the social group, ensuring that you're sort of withdrawing from social plans a little bit in order to spend a little bit more one-on-one time. Over here again, I'm seeing there's a very strong message to sort of if you and your person have, if it's a newer connection, for example, or even an established connection, if you are usually around each other in social contexts, so if you spend a lot of your sort of time together in groups or with other people or working on group projects with, a variety of people, or if you have just a very close social circle and you're always together within that context, there's a message to step out of the social context and spend more individual one-on-one time together. So to come up with activities that you can do just with the two of you, or create situations where you can have deeper, more meaningful conversations with each other about where you want the connection to go. And so you want to be sort of ensuring that you're on the same page, but also planning. And so there's a message here for deepening commitment, deepening, sort of looking into what your long-term goals are for the connection, so you individually, and then having those conversations as a twosome together. So whatever phase you're at, maybe you've just been enjoying each other physically up to this point, and so there's sort of a marker here of if you've been doing that out in the context of sort of like, now I'm getting sort of like partying and then hooking up, and maybe you want this to go further, well, you need to have those conversations. Or conversely, if you're in an established connection and you're spending all that time in group context, it's sort of saying, maybe go out for dinner, just the two of you, or make theater plans, or I don't know, whatever people do as twosomes in whatever environment you live in. If you live in, a more isolated area, maybe you're setting up, buying some popcorn so that you can, make popcorn and have a movie night together, or maybe there's a joint project that you've been wanting to work on, so doing something creative together, like just making a plan for how to spend one-on-one time together in order to sort of create those circumstances where possibly conversations can occur that allow you to deepen the connection. And even if it's just conversations that help you get to know each other a little bit better, even if you've been together for 30 years, there's still things you don't know about each other. And getting into different contexts away from your usual environment can sort of spark those conversations. But there is definitely an element here of planning for the future and just essentially sourcing out what your goals, specifically goals, maybe your hopes and wishes too, but specifically your goals, and just sort of diving in and ensuring that you have those conversations. There might also be a note here of protecting the connection from outside influences. So if you have a very active friend circle, or people sort of in your ear, or if there are people in your partner's ear or your person's ear about the connection, it's sort of, there's a message here to just be a little bit cautious about those external influences. So heed your own instincts and respect what your instinct is in terms of planning for the future in this connection. As against advice from friends. Sort of beware of getting bad advice from other people, or even just substituting somebody else's opinion of the connection for your own, or somebody else's opinion of your partner or the person in your heart, or of where things should go henceforth. Ensure that you're listening to your own instincts about that and talking with your person about that, rather than allowing social circles or gossip or other like friends or people you are working on projects together with, rather than taking their opinions as gospel. Make sure you're doing the work of staying rooted and grounded into your own instincts and inviting your person to do the same, and then having conversations just with the two of you about where you want things to go next. And so I think we're going to leave it there. I hope this was helpful. Went just slightly longer than I wanted it to, but we'll take it. That was a really beautiful reading, so I hope that helps. And let me know how it goes. Please leave a comment if this was helpful, and even just put an emoji. I've got like, I think my mother would tell me that's a ranunculus. I always think it's a rose, but it's sort of like a little more petally than a rose. There's definitely no thorns on those leaves. I am no flower expert, so it could be a peony, who knows. Feel free to correct me. These look like roses all around. So anyway, leave a flower emoji, that would be lovely. Or a ship or a bird. And in the comments, and that will help the video get seen by more people. Or just let me know if this resonated and how and why and what's going on with you and your person. I would so love to know. And what happens next. And otherwise, please do like and subscribe, and let's grow this channel and get it seen by more people. Okay, thank you so much for being here and allowing me to read your cards for you. That was a lovely one. Bye!